They've finally fixed it, and Outpost Rush is going to be back on the menu. New World Patch 1.8.1 is here, and it's got some good stuff in it. Let's talk about it. So yeah, the patch notes have just dropped, and it's going to go live basically tomorrow morning if you're in EU, actually last thing tonight if you're Pacific time. So here are the first changes under the economy and progression category. Notable fixes. Fast travel costs should now be correct when traveling to a settlement. I haven't personally been seeing that one. Generally, I'm just seeing the 20 as off almost all the time. Maybe that's the problem. They have fixed an issue that caused the Winter Convergence live staff to have an incompatible perk, Keenly Jagged. They now have Keenly Fortified instead. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't play live staff, so maybe you guys can tell me. Expertise. They have fixed an issue that caused a mutated version of Starstone Barrels Expedition to not drop Sapphire Gypsum upon completion for eligible players. That's just something that I don't track. Like, I literally did that expedition last night in its mutated form. Did I get the gypsum for it? I have literally no idea, I just didn't check. They have fixed an issue that caused some named items not to drop in mutated versions of Guardian of Genesis or Dynasty Shipyard. Now, I think I did see people talking about those. I actually haven't done those instances in quite a long time. I really need to do Guardian of Genesis, weirdly. But it's Laz mutation week, so I'm just going to be doing Laz this week, right? Although that actually has the annoying mutation where every time you dodge, you get a tick. I just hate that one because dodging is such a core mechanic and it's like inbuilt into me. Anyway, I'm going off track. Fixed an issue where shields would have 5 perks when rolling a Gear Score 600 item. I have not seen that at all, but yeah, classic New World, I guess. Fixed the missing icon for the Band of the Armed Men. I literally have no idea what that is. Re-enabled loot for several Brimstone Sands mobs that previously spawned too quickly. Yeah, I do remember them disabling some loot, but I can't remember why. Well, obviously it was because they were spawning too quickly, but I don't really remember what loot they were dropping. I'll have to check that one out to see if it's actually anything interesting. For combat with the Sword and Shield, fixed an issue that caused the defensive formation Fortify status effect to be incorrectly removed from the player when 2 players used it near each other. Yes, so I've seen that with we had that sort of similar issue with the live staff. So basically, if you both have this next to each other, it will cancel out the other. I'm guessing that affects war users more than anybody else because that's probably where you're going to see them, where you're going to actually see people with Sword and Shield that often. But it could have some effect in Outpost Rush as well. Yeah, those kind of things obviously just need fixing, and let's be happy that it's there, right? Now, this is the big one. However, it's quite easy to maybe just miss this because it is just like a one small sentence, but it's very important. And it was a massive exploit, right? I didn't really talk about it because I felt like Slender did a good job, and I feel a little bit awkward whilst I'm talking about exploits. I never know if I should show it, should I not? You know, it is what it is. However, fixed an issue that caused active but sheathed weapons passive abilities to activate under certain circumstances. Basically, you could get passive abilities from one weapon whilst you were using another weapon. And I don't know exactly how you did it. It's something like respecking and then sheathing your weapon and then having the other weapon out. Something like that. But you could get all kinds of weird stuff. You could get like Defy Death on a greatsword and just all kinds of funkiness. And it was pretty much ruining some Outpost Rushes, I think, because you didn't know if people had it or if they didn't have it, and it was very, very frustrating. However, they've fixed it. This is the first time they've probably got a patch out since Christmas. They went away for 2 weeks because, you know, they probably had less staff because people went on holiday. That's completely fine. Just seems unfortunate that these exploits are happening again. I know they're different exploits, and they tend to happen, it seems to me, in December time. I don't know why. Maybe they just have less staff at this time to QA things. I've no idea. I don't know when this started, for example. Did this start when they fixed the musket thing? Maybe. Either way, I'm happy it's fixed. Let's move on with our lives, right? They fixed a visual issue with the Winter Wanderer's Flowing Cloak. I don't know what that issue is or was, but hopefully it's fixed. Fixed an issue where dyes on shields were incorrectly applied to in-game store shield skins. Players that had dyes applied to shields still have the dye applied to the base item but not the skin. Okay, that's interesting because when we actually do get transmog, we're led to believe that we'll actually be able to dye the bought skins, and that is when things are going to get really interesting in terms of Ration and New World. But yeah, I didn't know about this one. Fair enough. Fixed a crash that sometimes happened in Outpost Rush when interacting with turrets. Well, that's interesting because very few people ever interacted with turrets, so maybe that's why it took so long to get fixed. Now, this next one, I saw a lot of people who were doing wars complaining about this one, and rightly so because it's unfair, because that's not what it's supposed to be doing. They have fixed an issue that caused players' daily war limits to not reset correctly. This made some players unable to participate in the intended 2 wars, one attacking and one defending in that world. Now that's obviously very harsh because a lot of the game's rewards are behind territory control, right? Whether or not you like that or you don't, which I obviously don't, it's undeniable that that is the system right now, and being locked out of it unfairly is unfair and harsh. So I'm very happy they fixed this. All round, that obviously needed doing as well. Let's try and give them a little bit of slack. I know that exploit's been around now probably like a week or 2, but I'm guessing that the first Christmas was probably like all hands on deck. This Christmas they were probably like, okay, we can actually have your holidays, let's chill our beans a little bit. So it did take a little bit of a while. Let's hope now if anything crops up, going forward, we get it solved quickly. Because systems like not being able to join the wars when you should be able to, having massive game breaking exploits in Outpost Rush just makes the game not very fun, right? So let's be happy that they've fixed them. I'm going to try not to dwell on the past. If you want to help me grow the channel, then becoming a YouTube member is truly the best way. Otherwise, consider coming over and following me on Twitch. What you should definitely do though is have a most beautiful day, like and subscribe. Goodbye.